Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. And today is another edition of Mad Cat Smash 35. Now you see how dorky I look actually doing it. And remember, feminism. You've made your bed. Now time you lie in your bed. So, a few quick announcements before I get started. I'm hoping for 2016 to update. I hope to improve the quality of these videos that I give out. First and foremost, is I'm going the hands-free approach for your pleasure. So if you do have any difficulty in hearing me, well, try to turn up your sound first. And if that doesn't work, just let me know and I will try to talk louder. But as we all know, me talking louder usually involves me yelling. So maybe I'll just try to find a way to boost the sound. All right. So today is not going to be my usual production quality. I am dealing with a problem as we speak with my computer lying right down there. Unfortunately, I think I fried the power supply. I just plugged in a new one and there's a good chance that it works. So I might be able to improve by next week what I want to do, because I want to have two computers going on at the same time, one for video and then one for the articles. This way I can still try to interact with all of you in the feed. But I'm also going to try to do some pre-generated videos, edit the videos, and then upload them. But I'm always going to be doing these because I love chatting with all of you. So now all I have to do is figure out how to solve this problem where my eye is filled with the laptop screen because I'm using the webcam function only on this computer. So I have to bend my head down like this and then look up to you. It makes me look all sinister. Anyways, let us go ahead and get started today with our show. And believe me, there's a lot for me to be angry about. Here we go. Oh, look, it's me. Well, I'm not angry about me. All right, let's go ahead and get started today. So, let me try to zoom that back a little bit. Sex robots are sexist. Feminist says brutal love machines will turn men into misogynist monsters. Don't feminists already say that? Although this, I'm kind of curious. It uploads at 10:44 and then updates at 11:11. I wonder what was changed. Oh, well. You know, looking at these sex robots, I'm a little concerned. I mean, this one looks like, yeah, just do whatever you want and turn me off when you're done. I mean, is it too much to ask that the sex machines smile a little bit, look like they're enthused to wax my carrot? Ooh, boobies. Ooh, ooh. Anyways, yeah, it's been a while for me. The arrival of sex robots will soon see men spurning real-life partners and snuggling up to silicone instead. Well, since the invention of fake tits, haven't men already been snuggling up to silicone? I'm just saying. But feminists fear the arrival of the bunk bots could spark an explosion of sexism, which will see men adopt dark age attitudes to real life ladies. You know, even in the dark ages, men were not as misogynistic as people think. Many of the dark age mentality of that we have actually comes from the Victorian age. If you look at the actual history of the Middle Ages, of the medieval time period, it's actually a lot more egalitarian than you think. I digress. An activist from the Campaign Against Sex Robots. There's a campaign against sex robots? Wow. Already? I wonder when this got started. How about just a campaign against robots and save yourself the trouble? Well, we're not concerned about the robots taking over and starting nuclear war. We're only concerned about robots taking over the place of women for men to have sex with. The Campaign Against Sex Robots has issued an urgent warning about the brutal dehumanization of women, which could take place when men begin to have sex with artificial love machines. Okay, am I the only one who's like pointing out here that mankind already has artificial love machines? I mean, we have the blow-up doll, we have porn, we have Fleshlight. How is a sex robot going to be any different than these aids that we have to, well, wax my carrot? No messages yet. No one loves me. So, I mean, yeah, this will be the next step in evolution of ways for men to get off. But even then, I don't think it's really going to change society all that much. Mostly people who just don't want anything to do with women, which we call them MGTOW, would probably invest in something like this, or people who can't get women at all, which should be of benefit to women. Now they'll have guys stop pounding them at bars, which is what they want, right? They don't want guys to talk to them at bars. That's what they're complaining about. And might even have, like, I don't know, date rape go down. But no, feminists don't want that. They don't want those things to go away because then they don't have a soapbox to stand on. But let's finish this article before I go in my tirade. Researcher Lydia Kay said sex robots will encourage men to think women are nothing more than objects designed exclusively for masculine sexual gratification. Oh, just like women designate men for feminine sexual gratification, women already do this. Sex robots will create another means through which women will be presented as objects to be used for sexual gratification and mistreatment. Bull fucking shit. If anything, it will mean that sex robots will be objects used for sexual gratification and, okay, maybe mistreatment if they void their warranty and open up the ports. I don't know. But it won't be like, well, I had sex with a sex robot. That means I should be able to do the same thing to a real human. No, people are more intelligent than this. What it will do is take away women's power of sex, because that's the only thing that women really have over men. And this is why the MGTOW movement, this is why the men's rights movement threatens feminists. Because if men realize that we don't need women to live, we don't need them to function as a society, women lose their power. And this is nothing more than we don't want to lose our grip on men's testicles to sex robots. That's all this fucking is. I've missed doing these videos. They will also desensitize humans to intimacy and empathy, which could only be developed through experiencing human interaction and mutual consenting relationships. Really? Is that why when a man gets drunk and a woman gets drunk and they have sex, a man is accused of raping her, even though that was mutual consenting? the fact that almost every single thing a man does to a woman is rape, and that we have to teach men not to rape, even though they already know it. Because in order to stop rape, we have to teach men not to rape. That's the only way to stop it, according to feminists. But we want to subject men to this interaction that immediately labels them a rapist, immediately labels them as a criminal, and that they are at fault for everything that women have to go through in the world. Every problem a woman has, it's caused by a man, and that a man should grovel on his knees. He should walk on his hands and knees towards her, begging to be forgiven for everything any man has done to her in her life. And that is experiencing human interactions with women of the new age. And women do not want to lose that. That's why they're against sex robots. They want men to always be at the mercy of women. Hold on one moment. Dogs are barking. Just the UPS guy. All right, so let's go ahead and continue this. Kay said sex robots tended to be built to look like women, with men able to choose everything from the color of the love machine's hair to the shape of its virtual vagina. Oh my God, customization. Oh no, because we can't have men have sexual preferences, because that's degrading to women. Men should just accept any vagina that comes to him, fat or skinny, but probably fat, because skinny women is such a detriment to women of all. She claims this reinforces the view that the female body is a commodity, and called for urgent discussion of the ethical implications of the amorous androids. You know, maybe that's what they should be called, amorous androids. I think it's clever, it's alliteration. I don't know, I mean, sexbot is nice, and it's probably better, but amorous androids, I think that's clever. Okay, even today, most men don't consider the female body to be a commodity. Most men have respect for women. Maybe they shouldn't with how women treat men, but they do. And it's vile cunts like you that come in and try to tell them they don't, and that they should give up their privilege to women so women can feel better about themselves. You know what? I welcome this technology. If it takes away power from these harpies, I welcome it. Although, seriously, can we get her to smile? I'm just saying, I would like my fake girlfriend to smile a little bit. And if she's going to wear lingerie, I prefer it to be a one-piece, not a two-piece. Again, that's my personal preference. In order to protect basic human rights and discourage the brutal objectification of humankind. I like how you say humankind, because men also receive objectification. If women receive objectification, so do men. But you're not concerned about that, are you? It's time to examine the human ethics of freedom in relation to sex robots. You know what? I'm willing to bet if there was a female male prototype for women, women wouldn't have a problem with this. But it's the fact that men are getting a prototype of a woman that they can customize for themselves. That's where they draw the line. We must address the ways in which advancing technology should be used as a force for good and could reflect what is best for humankind. We cannot let our humanity and our dignity slip away into a world of technology. No, what you're saying is that we women have control of the sex industry. Most porn is done by women. Women decide when men get to have sex, and we don't want to lose that to a technology that men can go and buy. Because now it means that if a woman, wants to be taken out to dinner, she might have to pay some of the bill just to get the attention of a man. She might have to actually buy him gifts for Valentine's Day just to get a little attention. She might actually have to work at getting his affection just so she can get sexual satisfaction herself. Oh my God, women would be forced to treat men like human beings rather than sex puppets. That's all I hear from these vile feminists. Oh, we're losing our power to a sex robot. Well, maybe if you weren't so vile to begin with, you wouldn't run into this problem. Maybe if you treated, she's smiling a little bit. Maybe if you treated men like human beings in the first place, rather than the cause of all of your imaginary problems, maybe the world as a whole would say, you know what? We don't want sex robots. We don't need sex robots. We're perfectly happy with the women we have. I don't need some android pre-programmed to say what I need to hear, because the woman I'm with knows exactly what I like to hear. I know exactly what she likes to hear, and we have a good connection. If we had that, this technology would be banned this very instant. But we don't have that. We don't have women who really care about their male partners. They're just a means to an end. That's all they are. And if they get to be with them long enough, they can divorce them, get half of their money for the rest of their lives, and then go find a nice piece of meat to stick inside themselves that's 20 years younger. But when men do that, oh, he's a horrible man for doing that. But when women do it, oh, she's a cougar. So this is talking about earlier this month, the manufacturers of a pioneering video game controller that doubles as a virtual reality male sex toy pulled it off the market after being swamped by demand. Virtual Dolls is a system which allows high-tech heavy breathers to strap on a VR helmet, sleep with simulated women, and be pleasured by a device which responds to on-screen eroticism. Can these chicks still not smile? I mean, she's sort of smiling, but give me a smile. Make it look like it's enjoying my company. God, it's like every date I've ever been on. This could, for instance, allow gamers to watch a cyber siren twerking whilst the silicone sex toy pulsates in time with her every gyration. So men rushed to pre-order this device on the crowdfunding site Indiegogo that its designers were forced to put the project on hold. Are sex bots actually sexist? Well, I don't think they are, and I'm going to assume none of you think it is, so we're going to say no. And the result is 79% agree with me. But, oh, wait, here we go. Virtual Dolls, an adult VR game controller, Indiegogo. Well, it said it was taken down, and if this ever loads up, in 12 days, they've raised $33,000. Now, it did go down for a little bit. They made some modifications, and they're now back up. And I'll be honest with you, I would buy this. If I had like the $140 some odd to buy this, I would. And this would be one step closer to a virtual sex doll. You know what? I haven't had sex in nearly 4 years because of my disability. You know, it's hard for me to get out there to find someone who's willing to put up with the fact that I'm disabled. You know, much less it was hard before then to find anyone who was willing to take a chance on me because by societal standards, I'm not a good looking man. I'm not that successful as a man. So you stick your dick in there and go, So, yes, this is a product that would appeal to me. You know? And hell, if money wasn't so tight, I might even just start fucking prostitutes all the time because honestly, yeah, so this is where you get the controller and such, 149. If I had this money, I would buy this right now. And it looks like it's coming out in June 2016, worldwide shipping. And also it looks like you can hook. So if you have some money, donate to this because this is something that is needed. This is the kind of thing that, you know, in all honesty, I'll tell you what I honestly think of this product. This is a product that women should want men to have. And I'll tell you why. Because, you know, one thing that women complain about is that men don't know what they're doing down there. And this is a kind of device that could actually get men to learn. If you made an educational sex game that, you know, rewarded points for how to lick the clit, how to finger bang a girl, how to, you know, slowly insert your penis into her ass, how to go a long time without ejaculating. This would end up making sex life so much better for women. Women should be encouraging this. Feminists should be backing this product because it's not devaluing women, it's honoring them. It's saying that it could be sold in such a way of saying that you could use this to be a better lover. That through this, women could end up having better sex. Now, I don't have any connection with these people. And if they see this video and want to like give me a bonus for promoting them, I would accept a controller in exchange. But no, seriously, it depends on what happens with my computer, but I might give $5. I wish I could give a lot more, certainly because I want the actual product, but you know, this is an important thing to have. Go ahead and give your money for this. A couple of dollars, I'm sure, will help them out. They need $50,000. They have a month left. And in 12 days, they've raised $33,000. Let's actually see this happen. So let me just check the chat a little bit. You have to be darn ugly to fear the competition from sex robots. Yeah, that's a very good point right there. I mean, there's no way a sex robot could ever really replace a chick. I mean, I don't care how good they are. I mean, if I had a chance to fuck Mercedes Carrera or a sex robot, you better believe I'd fuck Mercedes Carrera. And yeah, she knows that I feel that way. But so, yeah, and I don't think someone like her or most girls would really need to fear a sex robot. So it's a very good point, Stig Helmer. So let's move on to our next story. See, this is what I hate about working on my laptop. It's just so really slow. So, no man left behind. Marine attacked by Black Lives Matter. Honestly, everyone out there, if you have a sensitive stomach to bullshit, this is an article that's really going to affect you, in all honesty. I know I felt triggered by what I read. and I don't use the term trigger lightly. So I'm going to read the first part of this, and then I will jump to another article that talks about this a little bit more. So first, I want you to take a look at this image right here. It's a very important shit. Thought I closed that. Sorry. You all know Schultz Brigade. Oh well. It's not like you people don't know who my friends are. Okay, but this is a very important image that I want you to remember as we read through this, and it's a very traumatic image. On November 14th, 2004, embedded photographer Lucian Reed captured one of the most iconic photos of the Iraq War during the Battle of Fallujah. First Sergeant Brad Casal of Weapons Company 3rd Battalion, 1st Marine Regiment, had taken 7 by 62 by 39 bullets and more than 40 pieces of shrapnel from grenades, leading a rescue of Marines pinned down in a firefight that later became known as Hell's House. Casal was awarded the Navy Cross for his heroism. The photo of the Marine Lance Corporals Chris Marquez and Dane Schaefer carried the wounded but indomitable Casal from the fight was a graphic reminder that Marines take care of one another and don't give up. The photo became the basis for the No Man Left Behind bronze sculpture by Wyoming artist John Phelps, placed at the Warriors West site at Camp Pendleton. A similar statue is now at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. So, yeah, it looks very similar to that picture up above. Now, this is where I'm actually going to jump to the GoFundMe. And you're going to see why in just a moment there's a GoFundMe for all of this. I mean, I'm sure you can kind of figure out, but this is Chris Martinez, one of the people mentioned in carrying out the wounded soldier. And this is what he looks like. So we're going to read his story a little bit. And then we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, so a former Marine became the target of alleged assault in McDonald's on Friday, February 12th, 2016, as a crowd of youths cornered him and demanded he answer the question, do you believe Black Lives Matter? Oh, sorry, let me scroll back down. Before knocking him unconscious and robbing him. Knocking him unconscious and robbing him. He is a fucking war hero. And he gets attacked because of a question of Black Lives Matter. Let's continue reading. Christopher Marquez, a veteran of Iraq and a recipient of the Bronze Star for Valor, said he was dining at McDonald's in Northwest D.C. when a group of black teenagers came up to him and allegedly began harassing him about the Black Lives Matter movement. Marquez ignored them, which prompted calls and shouts that he was a racist. He fucking ignored them. He was sitting there eating a meal. Some people asked him a question. He turned to avoid a confrontation. He didn't want to deal with it. You know, in school, we're always told that if someone bully approaches us, we're supposed to walk away. We're not supposed to engage with them. Well, that is fucking bullshit. Because what happens is this. When you turn the other cheek, when you turn away and mind your own fucking business, this is what fucking happens. Marquez left the establishment after eating, but allegedly sustained a sudden blow to the back of his head outside the McDonald's, which knocked him unconscious. When he woke up, his pants were ripped, wallet gone, which contained $400 in cash, 3 credit cards, his VA medical card, school identification, Metro card, and driver's license. I remember this group of teens harassing me a while. I was eating. They surrounded my table and kept on asking me, "Do you believe Black Lives Matter?" Marquez told the Daily Caller News Foundation. Then they started calling me racist. I can't recall if they were saying anything else to me at this moment because the blow to my head really screwed up my memory. Believe me, that does happen. Hi, Ryan Baum. Okay, let's scroll down once my computer figures out what I'm trying to do. The Anthony Mason, manager of McDonald's, reviewed the security footage and told Marquez in a phone call Saturday that when he left the restaurant, a teen with a white shirt struck him on the side of the head, knocking him unconscious. The other teens then coverage on his incapacitated body, taking his belongings. The head blow Marquez sustained left his memory dazed, but Mason's review of the security footage helped him piece all together what occurred. Upon regaining consciousness, Marquez found a cab driver willing to drive him to his apartment across the America University where he attends school. Workers in the lobby called the police on his behalf, who took him to George Washington Hospital where he was evaluated for several hours. Medical documents obtained by the DCNF show Marquez was treated for head trauma and eye contusion. Credit card transactions received by the DCNF revealed that the assailants charged over $115 on various credit cards at liquor stores, Five Guys, and Walmart. Mason, the McDonald's store manager, told Marquez that police have been looking for the group of teens for a previous incident. I believe that this was a hate crime and I was targeted because of my skin color, Marquez told the DCNF. Too many of these type of attacks have been happening against white people by members of the black community, and the majority of the mainstream media refuses to report on it. Marquez served 8 years active duty in the Marines between 2003 and 2011 in Iraq and Afghanistan as a rifleman and scout sniper. He received the Bronze Star for Valor during his first deployment after he carried the body of his slain team member from combat following an ambush during the Battle of Fallujah. When I was a Marine Corps, I served with people from many different backgrounds, ethnicities, religions, and races. Like all Marines, I fought for the freedom of Americans and not just one particular group. Marquez was also involved in the infamous firefight dubbed Hell House in Fallujah. He and fellow Marine Dane Schaefer pulled out 4 Marines. Sorry, it's getting a little teary-eyed. Pulled out 4 Marines who were struck in the house after an insurgent ambush. A picture taken of them pulling Sergeant Major Brad Cassell out of battle served as the inspiration for the famous war memorial of Iraq located in California, reports the Los Angeles Times. Marquez is pictured on the left side holding Cassell by his right arm. Officer Anthony Hector of the Metropolitan Police Department is currently investigating the alleged assault. The DCNF reached out to the MPD for comment, but no further details could be provided at this time. Marquez described roughly 5 black assailants, including 1 female, ages 16 to 21. Marquez told the DCNF, "I really think this group of teens is dangerous and will do this type of thing again if they're not caught." Oh my God. I'm just, and I'm going to flip my camera back on because I'm like really livid at this point, and then I'll flip back on over there. I mean, my God, this guy is a fucking war hero. He went to defend our country, to defend our rights, and he comes back. He comes back as a hero. He's immortalized in a statue for his bravery, for his conduct of being a Marine. I have a lot of respect for the Marine Corps. I have a lot of respect for anyone in the armed services, but specifically for Marines, because I have an idea of what they have to go through just for training, and that's just for their general foot soldier. And he comes back and is surrounded by a group of ruffians asking about Black Lives Matters, and he chooses to ignore them. And he gets beaten up for this. Is this what Black Lives Matter is? It must be, because when one person, I believe it was a comedian, said that all lives matter, he was fucking booed. Because the idea of saying that all lives matter somehow undermines Black people. And I'm not angry at Black people, and I know a lot of Black people who are disgusted by Black Lives Matter movement, because all life matters. And this incident right here proves that the Black Lives Matter community doesn't care about life. They are inhuman fuck shits. How dare you? How dare you condone this sort of thing? You should be in front of this. You should be saying, we do not support these people and we will help the police in any way we can. But you're not. You're not going to do anything about it. Why? Because it's Black people. And it was only a white person. One white person is hardly anything. He was a fucking war hero. He served our country. He fought for your right to be fucking shit. I am so fucking angry about this. And you know who I blame? I blame feminists. Why? How can I blame feminists for Black Lives Matter? It's because of this PC culture that feminists have fine-tuned into what it is now. About all these stupid safe spaces, about, oh, my feelings are more important than facts. It made it a breeding ground that allowed Black Lives Matter to exist in the first place by segregating themselves against the rest of the world, undermining what any other civil rights leader has done. It has undermined what Martin Luther King tried to accomplish by saying that Black Lives Matter more than anyone else, and if you don't agree with it, we're going to fuck you up. This is what happened. He is a fucking veteran. He deserves your respect. He doesn't ask for your respect, but he deserves your respect. And even if he wasn't a fucking veteran, even if he didn't put his life on the line, even if he did not show the courage that he did in the Marine Corps in two of the most bloody wars that America has seen in a very long time, he is a human being. That's it. He's a fucking human being, and he deserves the equal rights of everyone here. And the Black Lives Matter movement is full of shit. You're just a bunch of whiny fucktards, bunch of witch Black kids in college complaining about something, and somehow told these ruffians that it was okay to fuck someone up because they didn't show proper respect to a movement such as that. For the most part, I've tried to avoid the Black Lives Matter incident, the whole thing, because I just like, it'll tire itself out. This is disgusting. I'm embarrassed for you, Black Lives Matter. I don't even think you should be called human. And I'm not saying that against blacks or African Americans. I have a lot of friends that are, but anyone associated with Black Lives Matter, you are not human. And you want to prove me wrong, to get on the top of this and say that this is not you, and you will do everything you can. In fact, you will pay his medical costs to demonstrate that this is not what Black Lives Matters is about. And you will stop coming after white people because they don't suck your motherfucking cock just because you happen to have a black cock. So let me jump back here. Rambot 3000. I blame this cultural Marxism shit that has been infecting the system for 50 years now. And I agree with that, but I do think feminism is mostly to blame on this. Anyways, here's his GoFundMe. I know I said you should give a few dollars to the sex robot thing, and I still believe that. But yeah, if you have, first give to this. Give a couple of dollars for this and help him out. We need to support the men out there, and especially this one. You know, our country has a very bad record of mistreating veterans in our country, and let's show them that we take them very seriously. Once I figure out what's going on with my computer, my money is extremely tight, but I do plan, even if it's just $1, because I know $1 can make a big difference. I will be donating to this myself. Oh God. All right. Oh, let's go ahead and move on. If you guys have any comments about any of this, feel free to make a post and I will try to read it. But let's go ahead and move on today. Let me zoom this up for you. Watch a campus police officer say offending students is against the law. Has this campus security officer ever heard of the First Amendment? A University of Texas at Austin cop issued a disorderly conduct citation to a preacher because his words were offensive to some students. You're offending students on the campus, the officer said. The job here is to write you up for disorderly conduct for offending someone. I'm not making this shit up. I mean, obviously, because you're reading this as I am here, but still, my God, this cannot be real. The preacher, according to the Daily Caller, has been inveighing against anal sex from his perch just outside the boundaries of the UT campus. Students who heard him complain to the cops. Badly written sentence. When the preacher asked about his freedom of speech rights, the cop responded, "It doesn't matter. Freedom of speech. Someone was offended. That's against the law." The officer, it goes without saying, was wrong. Thankfully, his department eventually corrected him and voided the citation. It also issued an apology to the preacher. Still, it's troubling an officer of the law could be so mixed up about it. It's also troubling that the students thought the best way to deal with an offensive speaker was to sick the cops on him. Now, I'm not going to play this video for you, but I do recommend watching it, The Death of Speech. It's illegal to offend people. It's about an 11-minute video, although like the first 5 minutes will basically give you that entire recap. And it's kind of sad now. And the education system in our country is so bad now that a cop honestly believes that offending someone is against the law and it doesn't matter what the First Amendment says. Now, this preacher, I'll admit it, he's a fucktard. You know, he was preaching about, he was being homophobic. He was preaching about how anal sex increases your chances of an STD, which, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there is actually anything out there. I think not wearing a condom increases your chances of an STD. Doesn't matter which hole you go into. So there, you know, he was also saying that sorority girls, you know, don't know how to close their legs, talking about gonorrhea. You know, he's a fucktard, all right? But while I don't agree with what he was saying, I do agree with his right to say it. Now, you could have caught him on hate speech. I might have still been a little bit like, but he was saying homophobic things, that homosexuality is an abomination, go to hell, what have you. But then you could also counter that with religious freedom, which many people have done in the past. But that's not what they did here. They just said, you offended someone, so now we have to write up a citation. And that's fucking bullshit right there. And it's a censorship issue. And these college kids felt so offended, they could have just walked away. Instead, they told a police officer, he offended us, go arrest him. And while, yes, they didn't arrest him, still, and he gets a citation for offending someone. This is what our country is turning into. Now, he is a college security officer, and you could just say, well, you know, he's not actually police. The thing is that if you watch this video, the police actually show up, and they are confirming what the security guard said, that it's illegal to offend someone. And the freedom of speech doesn't protect people from being offended. It protects people from having the ability to voice their opinions. The only time you lose the freedom of speech is when what you say incites someone to do an illegal activity. If you say, hey, go kill that person over there, and the person goes and kills them, you could be negligent. You could be fined, and your freedom of speech would not be protected. That's about the only time it wouldn't be, is if what you say somehow incited someone to do something. Although that is hard to prove. It's not so easy. But if you get offended, oh my fucking God, grow up. Seriously, grow the fuck up. So I recommend watching this video. Eric Martin, I didn't even know this happened. I'm assuming you're talking about the McDonald's incident. I don't think my video is updating. Let me refresh it. And ran bam. There we go. Loading. If you get a chance, check out that video. It's very scary that anyone could believe this. Okay, so ram bam. Feminism is Marxism in panties, mad. And all they did was change the goalpost. The pro-laterists became women and the burgeonees became men. Confirmed what, Eric, out of curiosity? Because I'm not really sure what you're talking about. So yeah, check out that video. It's very eye-opening that a college campus officer could think this, but worse, that the actual police, actually believed that this was true, that it was a misdemeanor to offend someone. Now, it was later corrected, but can you imagine what other places in the United States believe that? that to offend someone is a crime, that you could be fined for offending someone, this is the end of America. I'm sorry. This is the beginning of the end, where people actually believe it's a crime to offend someone. Speaking of offending people, as soon as it updates, Stephen Fry deletes Twitter account after BAFTA's bag lady criticism. Let me go ahead and enlarge this for you. Stephen Fry has deleted his Twitter account in the wake of his angry response to those criticizing a joke he made during Sunday's BAFTA Awards ceremony. That's kind of sad because I really like Stephen Fry. Him and, I can't think of the other one, the other funny British guy who's offensive. I always wanted to meet both of them. It'll come to me. The actor, who has hosted the ceremony since 2001, referred to a costume design award winner, Jenny Bevan, appearance after she left the stage, which caused offense online. Only one of the greatest cinematic costume designers would come to an award ceremony dressed as a bag lady, he joked. I mean, come on, these are award shows. I mean, look at what happened at the Academy Awards. The other actor that I was trying to think of, he was the host of them, and he was bagging on everyone, even criticizing Jennifer Lawrence about the whole wage gap issue, and she was in the front row laughing about it. That's just what happens at these things. That's why they get people like Stephen Fry and what's-his-face. Seriously, I've forgotten. It's going to come to me, but if anyone in chat remembers, please let me know. Damn you. They're not working. Oh, well. Anyways, after users tweeted him their distaste, he angrily responded in a number of updates, reminding people that Bevan is a close friend of his. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. And she was aware of his intention. He wrote, "Will all of you sanctimonious fuckers fuck the fuck off? Jenny Bevans is a friend and joshing is legitimate. Christ, I want to leave this planet. You and me both." Fry continued to argue with users during the night, and we tweeted all of those that were supporting him. He also shared a picture of himself with Bevan with the caption, I'm still recording, Jenny, Bag Lady Bevans, and Stevens outrageous misogynist swine Fry at the EEA BAFTA's after party. Fry was also criticized on Twitter for his Eddie Redmayne introduction. He has been a man trapped in his own body, a woman trapped in a man's body, and if I had my way, a man trapped in my basement. That's funny. Today saw him release a statement on his official website expressing his happiness at being free from Twitter, a platform he referred to as a stalking ground for sanctimonious, self-righteous who love to second guess, to leap to conclusion, and be offended. He called the decision a massive relief, and he felt free at last. But you've let the trolls and the nasties win, he wrote. If everyone did what you did, Stephen, the slap-faced dictators of tone and humor would have the place to themselves. Well, yes, and they're welcome to it. Perhaps they'll have nothing to smell but their own smell. I think he meant they'll have nothing to smell but their own shit. I'm sure that was cleaned up a little bit. And I'll let you read this, but here's some of the people that have shown support for him. I do like that no one is allowed to do jokes anymore. And Rebel Wilson, I guess her name is. I don't really know who she is offhand. All right, so it's sad to see him go, but Ricky Gervais, yes. Yes, that is the name I couldn't think of. I love Ricky Gervais. Him and Stephen Fry, I would love to meet them in a room one day and see which one of them could win in a fight. I don't know. I'm going to give it to Ricky Gervais on that one. He seems more primal than Stephen Fry. All right, so let's move to our last article of the day. The 4 particularly basic moves of a men's rights activist. How to spot a misogynist. As we all know, the true purpose of men's rights activism, at least as practiced by the majority of the internet MRAs, oh, nice save right there. Nice way to backpedal that one, is to find new and less inventive ways to harass women. That's insulting. I like to believe that I try to find new ways to insult women. This harassment is frequently exercised using online tools because nothing says bravery like an MRA flexing his muscles behind a cartoon avatar and a name pulled directly from a George R.R. Martin playbook. First off, I'm not afraid to show my face, okay? Second, I'm not afraid to reveal my name. It's Chris Vody. I'm a writer. Look me up. Give me a 1-star rating, you fucking harpy. And also, my name, Mad Cat, doesn't come from George R.R. Martin. It comes from Mech Warrior. So, shut up. But I digress. Still, there are women out there who feel obliged to take these men and their questionable use of Earth's oxygen seriously. Wow, you're not biased, are you? It pains me to think of them agreeing to be silent because some bargain bin dildo has popped her on this women to call fat sluts daily to-do list. That's not on my daily to-do list. That's on my weekly to-do list. I've seen too many women delete their social media accounts for fear of inciting the wrath of these crotch stains, and it really burns my crumpets. Okay, all kidding aside, there are men out there who are even afraid to voice their opinions for fear of losing their jobs by these feminist harpies. And it has been shown that many men have lost their jobs. Look at what happened to Thunderfoot. Now, yes, he didn't lose his job, but there was a massive campaign by your camp, by the feminists and the social justice warriors to get him fired. They couldn't just leave it on the internet. No, they had to destroy him. Well, lucky for Thunderfoot, they don't really care. They just want him to do a job, and that's it. Oh, but women are running in fear. Bull fucking shit. And I know who you're referring to. You're referring to Brianna Wu, who had to leave her house because of death threats. But 1 week later, she was back in her home doing an interview. But she was scared. Yeah, she couldn't return home for months on end because she was actually on vacation. But the good thing about the MRAs is the predictability. Once you realize how pathetically limp and small they are, don't make me show you my cock, because I think you'll be well surprised by how it's not limp or small it is. Because just think of the Bogarts, Harding, and the Hogwarts wardrobes. Okay, so anyway, here are some things to look for when Sarbut of Assface pops up to remind you of all the way he's a useless human being. Sarbut of Assface. Do you think Sargon would mind if I take that and use it? Let me jump to the chat real quick. Hey man, I'm a combat vet from the Marine Corps. What am I supposed to do when approached by a group of people at this point, you know? Yeah. That is a very good question, honestly. I mean, and here's something I didn't get a chance to say, and thank you, Andrew, for reminding me. But I have a feeling that no matter what Chris had said in this situation, they were going to beat him up. He could have said that he support Black Lives Matter, and they would have found a way to call him a racist and still beat him up. Now, it could be argued that they use Black Lives Matter as a weapon and that they don't truly represent it, but I don't think that's it. I think this is just what this kind of mentality breeds, is people who think that they have more of a right to be assholes to everyone else because they're the victims, this victim mentality. Now, I don't know about this whole Marxism thing. I'd have to do a little bit more study, so I'm not going to mention it, but you might be right about it. But this victim mentality that feminism has bred has led to Black Lives Matter. And I think this is what these hooligans used against this Marine. Also, Andrew, thank you for serving our country. And while I don't necessarily agree with the war you fought, I definitely support that you and your fellow, I wanted to say soldiers, but I know Marines hate that. So you and your fellow Marines and all other soldiers and other militaries did for our country. All right, let's go back to this. So, one, he will probably open by calling you ugly and or fat. This is designed to make you feel like you're nothing because women, in Truth Warrior's mind at least, only become worth something when they're prompting boners in the population of faceless cishet men who think their dicks are made of gold. Well, mine is more of a silver, and in actuality, silver is a lot more valuable of a commodity than gold because it has more uses. It's just that gold is more rare. Again, I digress. To these guys, calling women fat is like the ultimate burn because what he's really saying is, I would not deign to fuck you. It seems not to occur to him that you would rather roll in the hay with an actual pig than one of its lost, less involved relatives. You do know how the theory of evolution works. If he's your long lost if the pig and man is long lost relatives, which technically could be true from a point, so would you be. So if you're calling him a pig, you're also a pig. B, do not care whether or not you would get him or indeed any man hot and bothered in his downstairs. Did you actually read before you wrote this? Because this is just garbled with bad writing. Oh no, some sad, weird loser on the internet thinks I'm gross. Is there a support group I can join? Oh, look, victim mentality. If so, I imagine it's full of glorious women drinking wine and crackling that they theoretically, that's a weird word, search all their bags for a single solitary fuck to give and still come up short. Wait, where's your proof that this happens? I don't see anything. Oh, wow. So how do we know you're not making this up as you go? Thanks for separating Marines and soldiers. Yeah, I try. Sometimes I fail. My dick is made of platinum, but I don't want to post. Well, I challenge my silver dick to your platinum dick. At some point, he will call you a spoiled child. Do you mean spoiled like LLED or LT? Well, MRAs might be the literal. Oh, this is from Australia, so that might be a reason why there's a difference in spelling. My bad. Well, MRAs might be the literal embodiment of the giant baby reverse shrunk to 10 times its size in one of the lesser iterations of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise. They do not see the situation this way. Probably because they're giant babies and their spatial awareness is still not great. In between dribbling and throwing tantrums, they love to accuse women, especially feminists, of being like children. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're criticizing us for accusing you of being a child, but isn't that what you're doing? You're accusing me of being a child and then complaining that I accuse you of being a child. I mean, while I don't expect you to take the moral high ground, can you at least see your own hypocrisy? Oh, I'm being cute and funny, but you're just being plain right mean by calling me a spoiled child. Grow up, they yell. Stop behaving like such a spoiled brat. I was referred to as such earlier this week because I refused to read an article about how I supposedly used my extraordinary power to shame an innocent man who punched his girlfriend in the face twice and then sent her messages begging her not to tell anyone. The website this piece was posted on is hosted by a man who literally recorded himself warning feminists if they don't stop, he will do to them what he had done to me, which is by a domain with my name on it and republished tweets I've posted publicly as evidence of my great evil. But yes, feminists are the widow babies. Okay. So first off, I want to see your evidence. I'm looking through and there's no links here to tell me about any of this. And if this happened to you, I want to know, because if there's a piece of shit man out there that did something like this, I want to call him out for it. Seriously. You know, I like to joke about this and that, and I do swear a lot, but if there's a piece of shit man who did this, I want to know. But you don't provide any links. So am I supposed to take your word for it? Secondly, you know, feminists are always saying, well, you need to go and educate yourself. I'm not going to do it for you. And someone throws you an article and you refuse to read it. When I have interactions with feminists, I'm like, well, here's an article. This shows my point. They refuse to read it. And yes, they are being like children. And they do need to grow up because I want proof. I want proof. Well, here's proof. Well, I refuse to read that because it's on A Voice for Men and they're just a bunch of misogynist fucklords. Well, you wanted proof. I got you proof. You can't then say that no one can't prove anything because you refuse to read it. And that's exactly what happened here. And if you want me to believe one thing is true, then I have to believe the other thing is true, that instead of reading the article and trying to be engaged in a conversation like an adult, you chose to be a child. But honestly, if you're watching this video, which I don't know how you would, send me a link. I want proof that this happened. Seriously, I want you to point out the person who did this because I want to investigate. And if they're a fucking piece of shit that tried to slander you online by creating a website with your name, then I want to know. Challenge accepted. 3, when you fight back or laugh at him, he'll accuse you of cyberbullying. Well, now you're just projecting. Are you sure you're not actually talking about feminists here instead of the men's rights activists? Oh, I know. You initially wrote an article about the feminists doing this, and your editor came and changed all of the feminism to the men's rights activism. Okay, that makes sense now because it's the feminists who accuse men of cyberbullying. I've been accused of harassing someone simply for disagreeing with them. Well, you're harassing me. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just disagreeing with it. Well, that's harassment. Seriously, that fucking happened. This one is particularly delicious because it speaks to how incredibly thin-skinned these men are. An excellent irony given how much of the whole platform is based on free speech and make fun of safe spaces.
To these people, free speech means you must listen to every deranged thing I say, and you're never allowed to ignore me or retaliate, that because that is the equivalent of oppressing me, and we might as well be living in Nazi Germany, you fascist. Um, what is it called? Poole's Law or something? That the longer you debate someone, eventually Nazi Germany is called into question. And she just did it in this article. Or is it Sargon's Law? I forget which law that is. I'm sure someone in chat can tell me. I lost count the number of times men have begun an online conversation with me by calling me a slut or a whore or a leftard, only to grow incensed when I openly deride them in front of other people. How do you openly deride them in front of other people if it's an online conversation? Shouldn't have expected more than abuse from you, they might say. The other night, a man I didn't know told me I should be ashamed of promoting my fat, unhealthy lifestyle by simply guessing, I guess, see rule number 1. When I told him that I would sit on him and suffocate him, he replied, "Is that a death threat?" I mean, sometimes it really boggles me how these men manage to take over the world. God, you are just projecting left and right here. Because, yeah, there are some immature men out there, and I could see them doing this kind of stuff. But you know what? Women are just as bad at doing this, if not worse. And yeah, if he said, "Is that a death threat?" he might have been like casually saying it. But you know how many times we get accused as men in the men's rights activist sphere of giving death threats to feminists, even when we don't? Do you know how many times we're told that we're harassing someone? Point of example, Mel Tears mug. I mean, that's given every time a man tries to open up a line of dialogue with the world and said that they have some sort of problem. Feminists used to post images of Mel Tears cup. Well, how about kill all men? Which Time magazine said it was a joke, so it had to have been a joke. That is fucking cyberbullying right there. But oh no, it's only men who do it. You can't take responsibility for the fact that there are women out there who do cyberbullying to men. See, the difference between you and me is I said, yes, there are some immature men that may do this. That was the first thing I said in response to this. You can't even acknowledge that there might be a legitimate reason why the men's rights activists might, I'm not saying that they do, might do this in response to the treatment we receive from the feminist movement. No, because that would require you to believe anything bad about the feminist movement. And then the last point, they will shame you for letting down real feminists. Ever heard the one about real feminists would be rolling in their graves to see the way these modern women behave? A tactic of the men's rights, the MRA movement, which not so inaccurately calls for the mind images of bowels and waist, is to pretend they support real feminism, which essentially means that some of them consent to the idea of women voting. Anything beyond this is just a stab at superiority, and it's an insult to what the suffragettes were fighting for. Apparently, because suffragettes would traditionally be inclined to side with the metaphorical ancestors of men who imprisoned them, tortured them, and ridiculed them on the international scale. God forbid that the suffragettes were terrorists who burned buildings, who set bombs, and yes, they were tortured in prison. This is actually true. I'm not denying this, because they went on a hunger strike. And there's a law in prison, there's a law relating to prison that you're not allowed to let a prisoner go without eating. And so they forced these women to eat food against their will, because it also happened for men. Now, they didn't do it with the express intention of torturing them, but it did happen. And it happens to men all the fucking time. I don't know if it still happens today, but I imagine it would. That they would force the man to take in some sort of substance if he decided to stop eating. But don't worry, I think you're very much like the suffragettes. I don't think they'd be rolling in their graves. I think they'd be cheering you on because they were terrorists. And now there were some women back then who were fighting for the right to vote, even though that many states back then did allow the right to vote, even in presidential elections. And even back then, there were still some states that didn't even allow men to vote. But you know what? You're just as bad as the suffragettes. So you know what? Don't worry about that argument from me. They wouldn't be rolling in their graves. They'd be cheering you on. In conclusion, and in the immortal words of the great and wise Leslie Nope, these people are ridiculous and men's rights are nothing. Godwin's Law. Thank you. All right, let me go ahead and switch back to my camera. Ooh, it's dark in here. All right, so that's my show for today. I thank you for everyone who's come out. Thank you, Andrew Maxfield. Thank you, Rambot. Thank you, Steig, Eric, for commenting in chat. Rambot. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing. Rambam. I like that name. Suffrage was a co-ed voter reform movement. Suffragettes, as you say, were terrorists. Andrew Maxfield. I love that women have combat jobs in the military. The top 95% of women compared to the bottom 5% of men. So anyways, that's my show for today. You can't see these comments because I have my camera on, of course. Hopefully I can get my computer up and running. Hopefully it was just the power supply so I can kind of increase the production value of these things. And I look forward to doing more of these videos. I'm going to be doing these on Wednesday and Saturday, unless something comes up and I might switch a day or two. Wow, you know, I have so much to say on these videos and now I've kind of like lost my will to speak at this point. Yeah, thank you for everyone who's come out. I really appreciate it. Going to do some more stuff in the future. I'm going to be very busy this year, so you may not see me on social media as much because I am trying to make the most of my new situation here in Philadelphia. I'm very happy about the opportunity I've been given, but I've got to really work hard to make the most of it because I've got to try to find a way to turn this to help me for the rest of my life. But I can't stay away from doing videos. I love doing this. I love reporting on some of the more obscure things or the more serious things that need to be reported on. Definitely for Chris, I forgot his last name already. I apologize. But for the Marine who was basically mugged at McDonald's by Black Lives Matter, find the link again and donate. Let's really help him out. And then if you still have a few extra dollars after that, donate to the virtual sex thing because you know what? We need something like that in this world. We need to show feminists that we don't need them. I think it's a perfect thing for MGTOW. Although, again, I think women should be encouraging its invention. Anyways, that does it for me. Of course, not in this video, but in other videos, I always leave links down below for my Patreon. I also leave links down below for my book. I'm currently working on my next book. I'm about 8,000 words in, which for those who don't really understand what that means, that's about 20 to 30 pages into my next book that I'm already written. So that's going to come out very soon. Anyways, that does it for me. Once again, thank you for everyone coming out. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. This is Mad Cat signing out.